Seven. Sorry. 4, 6, 7. Excuse me.
Karma nijatam.
Six, 7.
Evam karma nijatam.
We can amplify this. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. The sound man is there. Yes. Hare Krishna. Okay. Not too much. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Kacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Taigora Premanande Hari Hari Vo. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Hare Krishna, welcome to the Bhagavatam class. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 26. The title of the chapter is King Puranjana Goes to the Forest to Hunt. Text is number 7. So let's read the text. Yaeva karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate Yaevam karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate Yaevam karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate. Please. Yaeva karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate. Yaevam karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate. Matajis. Eva karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate. Yaevam karma niyatam Vidvan kurvita manavaha Karmana tena rajendra Jnanena na salipyate. Yaha, anyone who Evam thus Karma activities Niyatam regulated Vidvan learned Kurvita should perform Manavaha a human being Karmana by such activities Tena by this Raja Indra O king Jnanena by advancement of knowledge Na never Saha he Lipyate becomes involved.
becomes involved.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So first translation. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Prachinabarhishat. My dear king, any person who works according to the direction of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. Purport. Just as a government may issue trade licenses in order for its citizen to act in a certain way, the Vedas contain injunctions that restrain and regulate all of our fruitive activities. All living entities have come into this material world to enjoy themselves. Consequently, the Vedas are given to regulate sense enjoyment. One who enjoys his senses under the Vedic regulative principles does not become entangled in the actions and reactions of his activities. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajñarthat karmanaha, one should act only for the performance of yajna, or to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Otherwise, any action will produce a reaction by which the living entity will be bound. A human being is especially meant to attain liberation from the bondage of birth, death, old age, and disease. He is therefore directed by the Vedic regulative principles to work in such a way that he may fulfill his desires for sense gratification and at the same time gradually become freed from material bondage. Action according to such principles is called knowledge. Indeed, the word Veda means knowledge. The words Jnanena na salipyate indicate that by following the Vedic principles, one does not become involved in the actions and reactions of his fruitive activities. Everyone is therefore advised to act in terms of the Vedic injunctions and not irresponsibly. When a person within a state acts according to the laws and licenses of the government, he does not become involved in criminal activities. Man-made laws, however, are always defective because they are made by men who are prone to commit mistakes, to being illusion, cheating, and having imperfect senses. The Vedic instructions are different because they do not have these four defects. Vedic instructions are not subject to mistakes. The knowledge of the Vedas is knowledge received directly from God, and there is consequently no question of illusion, cheating, mistakes, or imperfect senses. All Vedic knowledge is perfect because it is received directly from God by the parampara, disciplic succession. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, it is said, Tene Brahma Krida Ya Adi Kavaye. The original creature of this universe, known as the Adi Kavi, or Lord Brahma, was instructed by Krishna through the heart. After receiving this Vedic instruction from Lord Krishna himself, Brahma distributed the knowledge by the parampara system to Narada, and Narada in turn distributed the knowledge to Vyasa. In this way, Vedic knowledge is perfect. If we act according to Vedic knowledge, there is no question of being involved in sinful activities. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate. Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhuta Shmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeša Tarini. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So you can read the verse one more time. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Prachinabarhishat. My dear king, any person who works according to the direction of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities. So here Srila Prabhupada is for maybe the 100th time repeating some things, some very important points. And why is he repeating? Because we function like that. We need to hear things over and over again to remember them. And in such a way, by meditating always on the knowledge, we can act according to it and be protected. Like Srila Prabhupada here says that all action should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. That should be our intention, to satisfy Krishna. But also we should know, is our action pure? Is it fit to be offered to Krishna? And also, is it pleasurable for Krishna? Somebody may consider his activities for the pleasure of the Lord, but it might be done in an unpure way. It might be done against the direction of the scriptures, against the Shastras. But you could think in your mind, this is for the Lord. So it requires some introspection and some purification, some direction to learn how to act free from the results, from the negative results. And Srila Prabhupada says, in this material world, the positive and negative results, like as we see them, like a positive result could be I can get some money, and a negative result can be I can be in a car accident. But both are negative. Both are negative. Both are binding us to the material world. This material world is not meant for our enjoyment, and this is a happy news. This sounds very sad, you know. You will not enjoy, but it's not said like that. It is said it's not meant for our enjoyment. So our question should not be why I would like. No, it should be okay. What is it meant for? What is it meant for? We see it as a field of activity for our enjoyment, like Prabhupada here says. But because it's not meant for that, we will just get frustrated. And actually the word, just as a side point, the word dharma is also speaking about the purpose of an object. So if you have a hammer and you try to eat soup with it, although it sounds funny, but you will get frustrated because the hammer cannot hold the liquid, and it's impractical, it's heavy, it is not its dharma. But many times we use a hammer to eat spoon in different ways. We use things in a way that it's not meant to be used, and we get frustrated. So this is warning us that this world is not meant to approach it as I will enjoy here, what is here for me. This world is meant to use everything for the pleasure of the Lord, because we are part and parcel of Him, and by satisfying in Him is like watering the root of a tree. It is nourishing the whole tree. But if you try to do it in your own way, then you will get frustrated. You will not get the result of a nice and luxurious tree. Same is with the food. You eat the food and put the food to the belly, and then the belly distributes it through the blood, through the whole body. This is the dharma of eating. This is the nature of eating. If you do it in another way, you will not get a proper result. So there is a dharma also for the how do we deal with devotees. It is a nature. If you follow that nature, then you will have sadhu sangha. If you deal with devotees in a wrong way, you will not have sadhu sangha. Although sadhus are around you, but if you don't know how to deal with them, then you will not have sadhu sangha. Nectar of Instruction is explaining that. So everything has his nature. So this material world has a nature, and it is not meant for us to enjoy, but we can use it to engage it in Krishna's service, so we can satisfy our needs, which we have, in a way that we can purify ourselves from that desire for enjoyment, from lust. Lust is not only sexual lust. Lust is for everything. One of the definitions of lust is a desire which cannot be satisfied. It's like fire. Whatever you put it just burns it. So we have it. We cannot deny it. Like Srila Prabhupada here says that the Vedic scriptures give allowances. Why do they give allowances? The Vedic scripture don't say, "You're a rascal, stop enjoying, why are you looking at this food in such a lusty way? This is prasad, take it as a prayer, don't enjoy it. I saw you smiling while you were eating. Don't enjoy, it's a prayer, what is this, It's not like that. It's not in that way. We will not become happy. We will get actually discouraged from spiritual life. That's why the Vedic knowledge is so broad. It even gives allowance to kill. It even gives allowance to eat all kinds of abominable things. But it also explains the repercussions of it. And here we can say the point that Narada speaks, if you read only the verse, it sounds like, engage in dharma. So you're a king, you do your dharma, then you will get artha, some value, then you will get ability for kama, you can enjoy something, and after that you'll get moksha, you will get tired of it, you will purify yourself, if you do it following the Vedic injunctions. It's karma kanda. And this is actually how you enjoy. In just as a side point, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, I think it's 131, first chapter, verse 31, I recently read it. Prabhupada says, the first sentence in the purport, he says that people, because they don't know that their interest is to satisfy Vishnu, they seek pleasure from material relationships. And in that blind way of seeking pleasure, it means lusty, it means illogical. They even forget how to get material pleasure. So, when you are completely in ignorance, then you just want something. And you want to get it by any means. Like a very crude example, in Tamogun, there are people who need to have sex and they don't have a girlfriend. So they find the first one they see and then they take it. And they will not stop themselves. But that is not enjoyment, because they create a whole lot of troubles, because they will finish in jail and they will become a girlfriend of somebody else. And that's a problem. So this is how we don't see when we are blind. So the Vedic scriptures understand the need of a human being, that he needs to, while he is conditioned, needs to enjoy. So it gives, first you do your dharma. What is your situation? What is your varna and your ashram? According to that you act. It is maybe a slow way to get satisfaction, but if you have some intelligence, you will understand that everything which is valuable, you have to postpone your immediate satisfaction to have proper and nice long period of enjoyment, and it can be used in any way, like person in the mode of goodness understands that having a family, it's an enjoyment, and it's dharma, and it's beautiful. But to have a family, you have to, work a little bit on yourself and engage to earn money and raise a child. It's all quite a tedious activity, quite heavy activity, and it doesn't give immediate pleasure. It's not always pleasurable, but it's dharma. It's your dharma. But if you don't understand this, you will, in the course of having a marriage, you will do stupid things like cheat on your wife or neglect your child, just because you cannot make yourself understand that actual pleasure comes from doing dharma, not from grabbing objects for sense gratification. So for that, for following the karma kanda, for following the Vedic beginning stage, you have to be quite elevated, quite sane. And it's even this, which is a lower stage. It is not what we are speaking about. It is not what Prabhupada, what the Prabhupada main instruction was, to do everything for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of devotees. This is a lower stage. This is a stage where you are doing for your pleasure, but in a regulated way, following the scriptures. Even for that, you have to be quite a qualified person. And Kadamba Kanana Maharaj was often speaking one example which shows the principle in a material way, that some 40 years ago they did a famous test on children. It's called the marshmallow test, and it's famous because it is a study of human behavior which is done in 30 years of period. It started when they were 6 or something like that, and it followed their life until they were 36 or something like that. So the test is very simple. Marshmallow is a sweet. It's an American sweet. Nobody eats it except Americans, but they have some special taste. But if you ever tried it, it's quite soft, and it's just pure sugar. I don't know how do you make it, but it's a marshmallow. It's a nice sweet. So they put the kids in a room one by one. The kid was on the table, and they gave him a marshmallow, and they explained, if you don't eat this marshmallow immediately and wait for me to come back, I will give you one more. So you will get 2 marshmallows. So some of the children didn't wait for him to finish what is the example here. They already ate it. So some of them, when he went out, they ate it. But some of them, they waited. They understood, if I wait, I get 2. This one is not going to go anywhere. I get 2. So the ones who were able to suspend their immediate want for sense gratification, even in this small example, were much successful in everything in life they did, in work, in school, in everything. And it's not difficult to understand why. Even school, you postpone it, This is dharma. Dharma of a student is to learn. After he learns, he has value of knowledge inside. This is artha. Value. Some value is there. Because why is it valuable? Because you can sell it for money. And then money gives opportunity, is also valuable. It gives opportunity to karma. You can enjoy money. You can buy some things and you can enjoy. But then if you do it in a regulative way, this means you don't eat 10 kilos of chocolate. You do it regulatively. Here is in the Vedas, the Vedic scripture is so detailed, so it gives regulations how to use how to do this karma, this satisfaction of the senses. Then by doing it properly in one lifetime, you should be able to attain moksha, because by living in such a way, you do so many activities, you do give so many donations, you associate with sadhus, you read shastras, you do so many things, so many rituals to do all these activities. Then you should be able to attain that actually there is no desire, no pleasure in these material activities, but you attain liberation from these things. And then In another life, if you did properly, from a Shudra you become a Vaishya, from a Vaishya you become a Brahmana, from a Brahmana you might become a sannyasi, and then one day maybe you can become a devotee, and so on. This is karma kanda. It is understanding what is the proper way to do it, and then you do it like that. It's not, although it's a lower thing, it's not to be just thrown away, because we still have some desires. So we should also be quite regulated in our dealings in this material world, and always cultivate the main activity, and it's service with love for the Lord. It should be all done for the service of Krishna. But because we are not yet there, we should follow also all the other principles. And Prabhupada gave us the principles that we should put an emphasis on. And that's the 4 regulative principles, which of course can be much expanded. And the chanting of the 16 rounds, and the performance of service, and not just any service, but the propagation of the spiritual knowledge by our example, and by distributing it in any way, either as books, either as an information, or as movies, and by that method actually when you distribute books, you are bound to sometimes sit down and read one of them. So it's like that. And here Prabhupada also speaks some practical things which he speaks very often, and that is that if we take shelter of man-made laws, and that doesn't mean only the government made laws, but this also means if we take shelter of our own speculation, if we don't read books and learn how to act, but act from our quote-unquote heart, then we fall into the category that we will make mistakes. We are proud, so we will not admit them, or we will not know that we made mistakes, so it will be an illusion, and that will bind us. So our process is not just to imagine ourselves, that we are doing something for Krishna and just run around like a headless, run around in a without any sense, but it is to follow the 4 regulative principles, chant 60 rounds attentively, do service, but always also read Prabhupada's books, which give very practical instructions. So we don't get discouraged in our spiritual life, so we don't get frustrated in our spiritual life, so we don't get cheated in our spiritual life. Bhagavad Gita says so much about what is a saint, so we should know to recognize a saint, so we don't get cheated, so we can understand what is a saintly advice. We might get unsaintly advices even in a society of devotees. So we should know. We should also know that we are not so perfect, and we can make mistakes at any time, and we have all our senses are imperfect. We can sometimes be in illusion, and it's not a big deal. So we should not be frustrated if somebody sees the need to help us a little bit. We should not be frustrated in thinking that we are perfect. No, we are imperfect. And that's how we should do service. Because if we wait until we get perfect to do service, we will never do service. Krishna wants to give, that we give our heart to Him, that we give our loving devotional service from this situation where we are now. And we should understand that. We should not feel discouraged because we are imperfect. The only fault is to not stop trying, is to stop trying. The fault is not to make mistakes, is to stop trying, is to stop asking advice. That is a problem. But to make a mistake, that's not a problem. And also, the persons who are managing should understand that people people make mistakes, and that people can get surprised by that they are not perfect. In other way, people don't understand that the need to recognize our ego. Ego thinks, I can do it. I must do it properly. I must do it properly. I'm always doing it properly. So sometimes when we see somebody, we should also know how to correct him in a way that we can encourage him. So that also comes from Prabhupada's books, from Prabhupada's letters, where Prabhupada many times repeats that devotees are not our playfield to exhibit our own frustrations in life. We should be very kind. We should try to be very kind, but we should also understand that even the people who are trying to help us, the managers, they're all also not perfect. So we should not also hold a grudge if somebody is directing us in an imperfect way, because we are not here to enjoy. We are here to help each other get closer to Krishna. The small devotee is helping the senior devotee by tolerating a little bit and by thinking what is the instruction he is giving me, not only what is he saying. Are there flowers around? Did he give me a garland first? Not every time can be said like that. It should, of course, the manager should have a desire to always do it in as much as perfect way as possible. But also the devotee sometimes makes mistakes, so also the manager sometimes can do it in an imperfect way. Both of them should understand that we are not here to enjoy, we are here to serve Krishna. So we should forgive the faults of others, and we should see good things in others. We should see he's doing so much, maybe he's in a bit of a bad mood, so he said it in the wrong way. And the manager should also see this devotee is as I conditioned, and he's trying as much as possible. I should encourage him. It is for his interest to continue to do devotional service, but it's also in my interest. I will have an easier job. Somebody will do something properly one day. Somebody will love me. Prabhupada says it should be a service out of love, not just some imaginary love for Krishna, who we, let's face it, don't know. We get to know him. We should have a real love for ourselves and for the devotees. And in a proper way, we should learn what is love. Not something that we imagine. It's a concrete thing. It's a loving exchange. We should not just speak about them. We should have them. We should have them. And you know when you are doing something in a loving way, in a caring way, in an understanding that you are not dealing with perfect souls. You can understand it by feelings you have inside of you. You can understand it. You're having patience and you are repeating yourself like this. And if sometimes we receive instructions in a way that we don't like it, we should also understand, okay, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt physically. It's just my ego. Anyway, I have to get rid of him. Now I know it's there. And I should see, is there something good in this instruction that I'm getting? And then take that. And if something is bad, if really somebody is really being having a problem and thinking we are the reason, then we should speak to authorities and so on. But my point was that we should not forget this, let's say, beginning instructions, that we make mistakes, we are illusioned, we are prone to cheating, we have imperfect senses. We should understand that deeply, and it can protect us from being so sensitive when we make some problem, and from understanding that this is our nature. We are bound. We are bound. This is a fact. This is not something that we say, "Oh, I'm so fallen. I'm so bound." Not. It's actually like that. In so many ways, our physical body is made usually in a way that it will make Varna Shankara. You know Varna Shankara, We are Shri Shri Jagadat Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai Ki Jai. In Bhagavad Gita it is explained that by degradation of society, people will not follow Dharma, and they will have marriages between castes in an improper way, because also to have a marriage to produce a child, there is a proper way what to do. Nobody likes to hear that, but actually it is there. And then if you do it in a wrong way, you don't follow, then the person becomes a Varna Shankara. What does it mean, a Varna Shankara? And it's very nice to see here in the West, to understand that term Varna Shankara. You know, because there you have different Varnas, and then maybe some, usually Brahmana should marry a Brahmana or a lower caste. A male should be a Brahmana and a woman should be Brahmana or Kshatriya, but not opposite. But now in the West, this is like ridiculous if you start speaking to somebody like that. So it's not important. The important thing it is to understand what is Varna Shankara. It is a person who in his head doesn't have one clear direction of what he wants to do. But it is a person who has artistic inclinations, but doesn't have the will to pursue that whole life, because he also likes some technical things. So then he doesn't finish his art class, but goes to an economy university and works in something that he thinks is practical, but he actually doesn't like. But his desire is always to be an artist, but he has no strength of will to do it. So he's Varna Shankara. His mind is, and this is just two things. Now in the West it's like 6, 7 interests which are pulling us in different ways. So in that way, it is difficult to focus in life, because when you have a clear understanding of what you want to do, like I'm good with hands, somebody might think, and then he does some job and he is satisfied with that, he does a good job, and he doesn't have to, he's not in such an anxiety because it is his nature to do it. So then it's easier to cultivate spiritual knowledge. It's easier to also live in society because you know his position. But now our mind, at least my mind, I know, so many interests and nothing to the. It's quite difficult. So we should not be surprised that we are a little bit disturbed by, not knowing even in which ashram we want to stay, or we're staying in some ashram because it's practical. And then we are looking at the other ashram, or so many things are there. It is like that. We should know we are bound, and in such a humble way we should approach Bhagavatam. We should approach the Sangha of devotees in a humble way. I'm here. I'm so lucky to be here. It's such a privilege to be here, and it's also in the material world. So I shouldn't expect immediate sense enjoyment, but I should expect some opportunity to do service, some guidance, the benefit to actually achieve what is the purpose of life. This is what we get, because we know from the 5 processes, actually Sadhu Sangha is the most important. It's even more important than chanting, because by Sadhu Sangha you will get to chanting. So it's mostly, so we should value it, treasure it. Don't sell it for some cheap ego trip, or for some cheap point of I'm right, he's wrong, or something like that. It's very cheap, You will get your pay. Maybe you will prove after 3 months that actually you were right and the other person was wrong. Maybe you'll get that. But as this in the Bible is also said that when you do charity and then you say I did this, you have when they give that check, it's a huge check. When they give a check to the hospital, like the check is 1 meter by 2 meters and it's written there. So Jesus says for those people, they have received their payment. You understand? You do service, but you do it in a way that you want to be recognized, you want everybody to know, you want to know you are right. Then maybe you'll get it, but that's your payment. You received your payment. There is no benefit. There is no benefit which is lasting. It is a material benefit. So Srila Prabhupada says that only by acting actually for the pleasure of Krishna, not for the pleasure of our mind, our ego, our senses. Of course we are trying to do that, but by reading books we'll know what that is, so we'll not speculate. We will be able to be corrected, because somebody will say, Prabhu, I'm just saying that in the scriptures it's like this. I'm not, pushing you, or I'm not imposing myself on you. I'm just saying, it says like this. So then we will understand. If we read, we will become humble. We will very quickly advance. Very quickly. Very, very quickly. Prabhupada says it takes a second. But we hear on and on, the instruction, how to protect ourselves, how to actually have a sadhu sangha. This means get spiritual benefit from that, elevate our consciousness from that, not get some material satisfaction out of it. It may come, material satisfaction also comes. It's very nice to be with devotees, even for the senses. That's why we are not fanatics. That we are. Why do we read? To engage our intelligence. Why do we associate with devotees and stay with the association of devotees? For our ego to be peaceful, because then our ego is, I am a devotee, and then a devotee does certain things. So even our ego is purified in such a way, and we also do things in such a clean and enjoyable way. So our mind is also peaceful. Our mind can see that when you see like an abhishek, for example, for me, there cannot be a more beautiful way of celebrating God, whatever religion you want to do. But look at the abhishek, when you dress the Lord in his little gamsha and everything, and then you pour such nice things, and it's so colorful, it's so beautiful, you cannot. So everything is attracting our mind, our intelligence, our senses. Whole process is given like that by Srila Prabhupada. And by the acharyas, of course. To just stay with devotees, we understand that we are not perfect and we are here to be corrected, and use that humble mentality to actually inquire, to read, and to take the association of devotees, do sadhu sangha, and then it really quickly you'll get to understand that this is a bona fide process, that this is a genuine process, which takes you in such a pleasurable and nice and natural way to higher understandings, and to a gradual development of actual love of God. Bhaktivigyan Maharaj is coming, I remember somebody is mentioning him, and I listened to many of his lectures, and he is explaining from Bhagavatam that change of heart should come. It should actually come. We should not push ourselves all life. It should be a natural change, that I really, really desire the pleasure of others. And I know that the pleasure of others is to try to push them in front of me in a row for Krishna consciousness, to try to help them get spiritual benefit, and all other things for myself I should really start to disregard a little bit, because this myself that I think it's just a temporary thing. Some things, we have some needs, we should also take care of them, but this should become prominent, that we should just do it for the pleasure of the Lord. And as I said, by reading books we actually know what is the pleasure of the Lord. So then we are protected, because we read and we can stand to be corrected, and gradually it purifies us, and then we are safe. In the association of devotees, in the association of books, in the real desire to chant our rounds attentively, real desire to chant our rounds attentively, and to follow the regulative principles, and in such a way we'll see why is this position a blessed position. Why is this a blissful position? If we don't see why is this the blissful position, we should just do a few steps back and see what are we not doing properly. beginning from chanting, beginning from our day. What can we improve? How can we make it a little bit more systematic, a little bit more suitable for spiritual progress? And then there is no fear. Okay, I will stop here. If anybody has a comment or a question or a correction, they can speak now or later or anytime. And okay, yes, Mataji.
This verse said that if the person follow the instruction, this person never will be bound in sin, yes? But this history is spoken by Narada Muni to Prachinabarhishat to remove his bondage, yes? But the Prachinabarhishat was very, very religious king, and he strictly follows all instructions. May you explain this?
Prabhupada immediately, what does he first say? Prabhupada doesn't even consider this karma kanda. He immediately says, everything should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. This is the only way you will not get fruitive activities, bound by fruitive activities. This is the only way. There's no other way. So if we, what does Krishna say to Arjuna? He says, forget the flowery words of the Veda. Just surrender it unto me. So we might see now here that this is said in a context that you will be on your way to purify yourself by following Vedic injunctions. But actually, by just following Vedic scriptures, you get positive material activities. You go to Svarga Loka, you go to heaven, you get such positive material things. But to be purified from actually fruitive activities. What does it mean fruitive activities? Fruit is a fruit, it's a result. This is an activity which you do to get something for yourself, to enjoy. This is a fruitive activity. So here it said in a context that, okay, you have to enjoy, you're a king, but do it in a regulative way. Do it in a regulated way. If we take only this sentence, that is said in that way. But Prabhupada immediately says, you should do it for the pleasure of Krishna. You should not pay so much attention to the Vedic way, which is gradually elevating you. You should go immediately to the top. And that's the way you will do akarma. You will not produce any material result. So for me also this sentence was quite confusing actually, when I read this. I'm sure somebody could explain it in a better way if we know what is next coming and the next sentences and the sentences before. But here Prabhupada immediately cites that we should all that we should do is do for the pleasure of Krishna, and that's the only way we'll not be bound. Other way, you'll go to Svarga Loka by following Vedas and then go again down and go up and down, up and down. Again, it's in a circle, not breaking the circle by following the karma kanda way. But it's not our way. We are going above that by understanding the pure devotional service is our actual dharma of the soul. We are parts and parcel of Krishna. We are not meant for going round and round and elevate ourselves gradually. So, as I said, Prabhupada doesn't mention that by following the Vedic scriptures like this, very general, you will get free. Prabhupada says by acting only for the pleasure of the Lord, this is how you will get free. So, this is what I can say as a difference between the karma kanda way of gradual elevation and the bhakti marg, let's say, which is to develop attachment and actual raga, actual attachment for serving the Lord, actual emotions for His pleasure. It's quite different. It's quite different in that sense. Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank
Hare
you for the
Krishna.
lecture. I just wanted to share something. His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj said in a lecture, because you were speaking about pleasing Krishna and the change of heart and what he said. And there's this story. It's about how to please Krishna, how we should react on if someone is praising us or telling us off. And I'm just remembering it for my own purification. So there was a disciple, and he asked his guru, how can I please Krishna? Can you please tell me? And the guru said, well, go to a crematorium, and you will see there a lot of dead people, and what you should do is you should shout at them and tell them they are the most rascals. They are the worst of all. And then the disciple, he listened to his guru, and he went there, and he shouted at them, "You rascals, you never served God. You are the most abominable." And so he did his service, and he went to his guru, and the guru asked, so did you do what I told you? And the disciple said, "Yes, I did, Guru Maharaj." And then the guru asked, "So what happened? What reaction was there?" And then the disciple said, "But Guru Maharaj, they're dead. What kind of reaction should be there?" There was no reaction. And then the guru said, "So, okay, well then go again, and this time you should praise them. You should tell them they're most amazing people." So the disciple listened to how Guru Maharaj described his eccentric guru, and he went there, and he praised these people, the dead bodies there. "You're the most amazing. You lived a happy and fulfilled life, and now you had a beautiful death, and now you can sleep and relax." And so again there was no reaction, and then he went to his guru, and the guru asked, "So what happened?" And the disciple said, "Well, they're still dead people, so there is no reaction." And then the guru said, "So that's how you should react. You should learn from them. That's how you should react if someone is praising you, and if someone is telling you off or shouting at you, you should react like this." So, like the dead
Like you
people.
should be equipoised.
Yeah, you should. So, yeah, that's how to please Krishna. It was his answer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, tolerate the heat and cold. Tolerate. And I said, when you are in these dealings, that we are not here to enjoy. That's why you should tolerate. It's not just sense negation. You should not enjoy. It's that when we say you are not here to enjoy, we mean this material, immediate enjoyment, pleasure for our senses, our mind. Actually, we'll get the most enjoyment, the most benefit, the most satisfaction by following the scriptures. But we should not be that baby which wants to eat the marshmallow. We should be the one who waits. There will be a mountain of them, and not somewhere in Svargaloka. There will be even here in the association of devotees.